what are the items we Hungarians love to pick up at markets? Or, as one of my friends has put it, what are the things we Hungarians cannot survive without on a deserted island? Let's dive into this delicious adventure and let's learn about some of our favorite food items. So, what should we start with?
Sausage.
Absolutely. Sausage is one of my favorite. If you've been watching our videos, you know I always recommend for you to try sausages.
Has such a nice smell. This is a sausage also from the Hungarian plains. So obviously there are hundreds of kinds. The two most famous ones are Gyulai and Csabai.
Yes, two towns somewhere in the southern, eastern
having war
borders.
Since hundreds of years.
If you ask a person from one of these places which one is the best, they will absolutely go to war to defend their own little sausage. Paprika powder, which obviously if you look at our videos about Hungarian food, you'll know we use a lot of paprika powder. This one also incorporates that.
I think as the first basis of all these things that you can buy in a market, if you start with a sausage, you cannot go wrong.
And as we mentioned, we picked these up at markets. And there are so many markets here in Hungary and in Budapest. And if you go to one of the most famous ones, which is the Grand Market Hall, it's a really nice place. But what is it that I always say about the Grand Market Hall?
It's expensive.
It's a good place for window shopping, I guess.
Obviously, not everyone has the chance to go a bit outside of the city center to the outskirts. So it's a great place to buy stuff, but do expect that it's more expensive than if you go to a smaller, more local market. Things are going to taste great, so I don't think that in terms of quality it's, worse.
Just don't go to the second floor and eat anything there.
You can, but it's more expensive than anywhere else.
Indeed, but the regular market part is good. However, if you're looking for, classical markets in Budapest, then maybe use Google Maps and search for piac, because that is one of the words we use for like markets, flea markets. But there's also vásárcsarnok, which is market hall. Indeed. We picked these up at the outskirts, and as you can see, they look splendid. So I can't wait to jump in to the next item. What would you pick?
I would continue with sausage.
Okay.
But with the Cserkész kolbász.
Ah, the Scout sausage.
And based on what you told me, this is the love child of a hot dog and the sausage?
Indeed.
If you want to explain the flavor, this is what it is.
Because it's uniform as a hot dog sausage would be, but if you look inside, it's not as uniform actually.
Chunkier.
Viewably. Yeah. It's kind of similar to a other sausage.
To a sausage, but the outside is very flat. Or how do you say that? It's very... So the outside is like a hot dog, basically, and the inside is more like a sausage because of the chunkiness. And here the paprika is not too overpowering as in a normal sausage or a salami.
It's not as boring as a hot dog sausage, maybe not as exciting as a sausage, but it's still fun and it's really nice.
And you can basically, I think, only get this in markets. You are not able to buy this in a convenience store, or at least I have not seen it.
Cserkész kind of means scout.
Yes.
And this is like something that we have for more than 100 years. And during socialist times in Hungary, there used to be another kind of an activity that was similar to scouts, but scouts, the Cserkész, for us Hungarians was like a Western thing that the Americans had, so we had to have something that's socialist, which was the úttörő. But that means like pathfinder or trailblazer. And what's a mystery, that during the socialist times, anything that was like America related was always changed. Their names were changed, the street names were changed, everything was changed. Except for this, and no one knows why, this did not become úttörő kolbász.
The more you know.
This is a Csécsi Szalonna. Szalonna is a bacon. We have a ton of different kinds of bacon products, and this is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is also one of my favorites. First of all, it's obviously a totally different part of the animal, but what is very good and unique about it is the amount of garlic.
Yes.
They put on top and paprika, and then this is cooked, right?
This is made from the cheek part of the animal, of the pork, and it's first marinated and then slow cooked. The thing is, you can find this in two different ways. It's either Csécsi Szalonna or Abát Szalonna, and Abát is the process. Yes, the slow cooking with some marinade in there, I think with garlic, and that's why it becomes so soft. It's really soft.
Yeah, it's very soft, and you really don't mind the fat basically because it melts in your mouth. So if you're not a fan of very smoked meat, then you should give it a try.
But by the way, the fun thing about it, Csécsi, I thought the reason why it's Csécsi is because it's from Csécs. There is no such place called Csécs. If you want to say it's from somewhere, like from Budapest, we will say it's Budapesti. Or if it's from Siófok, like from where my lovely producer is from, we would say Siófoki. Or the Balaton region, Balatoni lány. That's what she is. But Csécsi does not mean that it's from Csécs. Csécsi Dénes was a butcher at the Hortobágy region apparently, probably more than 100 years ago, who came up with this process and made this a reality. Thank you, Dénes.
Thank you. And now obviously we are recommending here things that maybe you as a tourist, you don't have the chance to eat for breakfast in your hotel. But obviously if you're in an apartment or an Airbnb or anything like that, and if you have the time, then go down to the market. It's, as Ákos said, across the city, and just grab some of these items and eat it in your apartment, and I think it's a fun experience.
Or perhaps do buy them at the market and then go out and immediately eat them, like at Margaret Island, for example, or the Városliget City Park. Do a picnic.
Yeah.
You don't agree?
No, because you need to cut these. I think this is more complicated to it, so I would prefer to do this in your...
If you would do a picnic with these, leave a comment below. Or, is she right? Is it too complex?
I'm right.
Let's see. Let's hear it in the comments below.
Let's continue with Kolozsvári Szalonna.
Yes.
This is named after the place that it's from.
Yes, where they figured out the best way of making this.
Yeah, so this is basically smoked bacon, if we want to put it very simply, no?
It's cooked and smoked.
Cooked and smoked, okay.
You can find a different version, which is, I think, the same cut, the Császár Szalonna.
Yeah.
We call this part of the animal Császár Szalonna, and that is just cooked, and that's it. It's very nice. It's more softer than this. This one has a little bit of a chew to it.
Yes,
but I like it.
Yeah, and we use this usually for our stuffed cabbage. At the bottom and on the top, we put this because it gives such a nice additional flavor due to the smokiness of the meat.
My father always recommends to using Kolozsvári Szalonna if you want to cook something.
What would you like to have next?
Well, we had so much meat. Let's go down the cheese road. And maybe the one that's, I think, one of the more unique ones to our region, the Gomolya cheese. This is a very light cheese, and it is made from goat.
Yeah.
Goat. It is made from sheep. Because we Hungarians are animal herders, if you look at that wonderful painting of the Hungarians coming to the Hungarian plains, you will see that there are a lot of cattle, a lot of different animals. We used to be animal herders before settling here, and we are using a lot of different ways on how to utilize our livestock. And this is why one of the cheeses that we make is made out of goat milk. Sheep milk. The other one will be made from goat.
What I like about this is what you mentioned as well, that it's a very light cheese in terms of texture as well, and it does not have such a strong flavor to it. They usually also add additional ingredients, like what we have now. It has a red onion, but you can find it with chili or with herbs even. You can also buy it plain, but since it does not have such a strong taste, we usually recommend buying it with some kind of additional ingredient. So I really like it. It really just breaks apart so nice, and you almost can see it somehow being airy, if I can put it that way.
Not air bubbles like in an Emmentaler or something.
But yeah, it's very nice.
Let's stick with cheese, because we also have the goat cheese here.
Yes.
This is mainly also from the Great Pannonian Plains, where most of the livestock have a lovely life because there's a lot of grass to feed on.
Obviously, goat cheese you can find also in other countries, so it's not that unique. But what I really like about this is that it has a subtle saltiness to the taste. So this already, for me, being plain, is fine because, you know, this pairs so well with wine, which we don't have at this moment, unfortunately.
Maybe afterwards we can have one, because we have still some left.
Yeah, but goat cheese, in the past few years it grew on me. So obviously as a child we did not always have goat cheese at home. We usually had Trappista.
Oh yeah, because Hungary is not huge on cheese,
No.
so while we do have some, like this Gomolya or the goat cheese, the Trappista is like the cheesiest cheese that we have. When I was young, I thought that Trappista is the only cheese that exists, and that's not a coincidence.
because you were a child.
But because during socialist times, cheese was like something, again, that the Western European nations are making.
Higher society.
Yes. And in Hungarian schools, you remember we used to have like milk with kifli, this like Hungarian croissant, let's call it that way. But cheese was kind of rare, and apparently they didn't even have enough like dairy milk to start making cheese. So what they did was they made all of these wonderful things like sour cream, yogurts, whatever we as young children needed and the Hungarian people needed. And the leftover products, they figured out a way to make Trappista, which has nothing to do with the French Trappista, but the name still sticked around. And it's 70% of the Hungarian cheese that is being sold today.
Yeah, because it's the cheapest. So.
It's the cheapest, and it goes very well with lángos.
Yeah, usually you find Trappista on lángos. I think only in very fancy places you find other type of cheese put on lángos, but Trappista is, I think, the best one to pair with.
It's very rubbery, very cheap, but very nostalgic.
Yeah, but I think it's a nice taste. So obviously it's not the king of the cheeses, but for us it has also some kind of nostalgia to it. Let's continue with something meaty again. Salami. That's a big sausage, basically.
Now, as the word suggests, salami is an Italian thing, but we have our own local versions. And I read that there was actually an Italian guy during the Austro-Hungarian times who came to Hungary and came with the original, local recipe he grew up with in Italy. And that recipe used to have donkey meat. Now, how much donkey do we eat? None. We don't really like that. And Hungarians were absolutely hating what he was creating, what this guy was creating from Italy. So he kind of put a twist on it that he used pork, which we Hungarians love, but the flavorings and other kind of things were the Italian stuff. And that's how this thing that we call salami was born. And you can find things like pig salami, which has the winter salami, téli salami, which is, I think, an absolute god tier salami. And then there is also Hertz. However, if you can get something that's like a handcraft salami from like a local butcher or something, you will absolutely not go wrong with that.
And I can barely keep it together because this is more on the spicier side. So usually when we buy sausage or salami, we go for the spicy one. And then obviously that's sometimes a gamble how spicy it is. So for me, it's just scratching the surface of my limits. So it has such a nice paprika smell and garlicky smell, and obviously the smokiness of it. So it's such a nice flavor that you cannot go wrong with, and we do buy these quite often ourselves. So.
And you know what makes a good salami? You cannot cut it thinly.
Yes.
You will never see a thin salami.
If you buy it from the market or butcher.
Next, how about a little bit of palate cleansing? Something simple. The paprika that we love. We call this paprika, but if you want to look it up online, it's like wax paprika. We call it yellow paprika, or there is sometimes TV paprika, which I thought as a child, TV means television, and this is like something advertised on TV. you know, like as seen on TV, the paprika. But TV means tölteni való, as in to be filled, because we also have that wonderful thing that we call the töltött paprika, where we fill this with meat, and obviously red paprika is being used.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Okay, until you chew on that, let's continue with paprika, which is pickled. And this one, we put cabbage in it, but you can find all kinds of things being pickled. We Hungarians love to pickle everything because, you know, it lasts longer. And we have a place called Kecskesajt,
Yes.
which is very famous for pickled stuff.
Especially the pickled cabbage.
Yeah, especially the pickled cabbage. And this one, again, I'm a bit afraid because I think it's spicy. Because they are usually asking you if you want spicy or sweet, then you can decide. But again, it's sometimes a gamble on how strong it is.
So if you come to Hungary with a plane, you'll probably land at the Franz Liszt International Airport. Right next to that is Kecskesajt, where most of these pickled stuff are coming from. And apparently, the soil there is really good for cabbage cultivation. And the people there made so much cabbage that in the end they had no idea what to do with them. So they started to pickle them because that, as you said, extends the shelf life. And they became masters of pickling. And maybe this year we can actually go to the pickled festival at Kecskesajt.
Yes. This goes really well with pörkölt, for your schnitzel or anything else. You can eat it and it gives a really nice refreshment to your mouth, basically.
And I think one of the cool things that we failed to mention is that if you go to a market, but you don't want to do the picnic, at the marketplaces, you can get like grilled sausage. And you know what goes well with grilled sausage?
This.
The pickled stuff.
Yes. It's very nice.
I can highly recommend it.
If you want to do a very traditional Hungarian breakfast. Töpörtyű, which is basically fried fat. In Hungary there is a tradition in terms of pig slaughtering during winter times, and obviously we are making sausage, salami, bacon, everything like that. And there's also the töpörtyű, which is, how do you say that in English?
It's technically the skin and the fat under it. During the process of making fat, and we cook a lot of things with fat, when there is like a leftover product of this process, that is the töpörtyű. And we Hungarians utilize a lot of different parts of the pork. And that is because and we say this a lot, if you go back in history, we used to be ruled by the Ottoman Empire. And during that time, the Muslim soldiers took away most of the livestock from the peasants, except for one. And that was the pork, because the pork is an undesired animal according to their religion. So those poor peasants had to figure out a way to use their remaining porks as much as they could. So that's how we got this and how we got that thing over there. But before we go there, there's this one, right? As you can see, this one has a different shape. It's a
color,
It's a more sinister shape. If you like spicy stuff and gambling with your life, maybe try this. This is a Hegyes Erős.
I don't eat that because I know usually it's very spicy, but he loves that kind of stuff.
This is where I will start to sweat.
Yeah, so before we go here to the last one, which is the one that which is the one that you don't like.
I enjoy this.
It's very spicy. Okay. Let's continue with Disznósajt, which is, to translate it completely, pig cheese.
Something like that.
But it's not cheese. It is also basically an outcome from this whole pig slaughtering thing that they put all kinds of parts from the pig.
The tongue, the
ear, the
anything that's
skin,
like you don't know what to do with it.
Well, yeah, I would not put it that way, but they put it into the stomach of the pig and then basically press it down and smoke it. I love it because as a child I've been to many of these kinds of events and I grew up on this, so I love Disznósajt, but I know you hate it?
I don't hate it, it's just not my favorite item on this table here. By the way, pig slaughtering might sound, you know, like a horror story or something, but back in those times, those were the events where, you know, the
family
village
gathered.
Yeah, the village, the family got together. It's where you socialized, everybody had something to do, and you had to drink a lot of pálinka in the process.
I just wanted to say this, that as a child, I was the one who had to bring the pálinka at 5 a.m. in the morning to the parents and grandparents so that they can start the day, because it was winter time, so it was cold. How are you doing?
I will survive.
Yeah, so it has a very unique texture, so probably this is not something that everyone likes. Even in Hungary, I don't know many people besides my parents who love Disznósajt, so it's quite unique, like I am.
Look, the flavor, I think the flavor is okay.
Nice,
I just don't like the texture because there are so many different things in there that have different kind of textures.
Yeah.
So you're eating it, and once it's a bit chewy, then it's absolutely not chewy, then it melts on your mouth, then there's something that you didn't expect to be there. But the flavor is okay. I just don't like the texture.
I hope with that we raised your curiosity to try this or any of these items. But which one did you like the most, or have you ever tried any of these items before? Let us know.
Thank you very much for joining us on this adventure today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you are not subscribed and want to see more content like this, then you hit that subscribe button. And if you want, you know, this video to reach more people, then maybe also hit the like button as well. Leave a comment on what is your favorite, what have you tried, and maybe what is the thing that we have missed. Leave a comment, tell us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And what we always say, 3, 2, 1,
Bye.
bye!